The Terran Centauri diplomatic ball sparkled under quantum chandeliers, holographic decorations casting prismatic light across the gathering of Earth's finest and their interstellar guests. Victoria Darkwood stood apart, her translucent blue skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that marked her as Centaurian nobility. Her silver hair floated in an ethereal cloud around her head, responding to her emotions like a living crown. At 93 standard cycles, equivalent to 25 Earth years, Victoria had mastered the art of maintaining her status among both human and alien elite. Her family's control of quantum fold technology, combined with her extraordinary beauty, crystalline eyes that shifted colors with her moods, elegant bone structure that seemed to catch and reflect light, made her the unchallenged social leader in any gathering. The AI announced new arrivals: Mr. Thomas Reed, Earth's agricultural innovation representative. Victoria's luminescent patterns flickered with disdain as she observed the human enter. Though he moved with unexpected grace for his species, his sun-darkened skin and casual Earth-made suit marked him as common. Still, she noted with annoyance, he carried himself with unshakable confidence. Did someone allow their maintenance worker into the diplomatic sector? Victoria's voice carried the musical tones of her species, but the mockery needed no translation. Perhaps he mistook this for a farming symposium? Thomas turned at the sound, his brown eyes meeting her crystalline gaze. Instead of showing the expected intimidation, he offered a polite nod before returning to his conversation with Ambassador Thornfield. Victoria's skin rippled with irritation at his dismissal. She glided closer, her movements fluid and otherworldly. The fusion of Earth's traditional methods with Centaurian soil enrichment could double global food production, Thomas was explaining. Victoria inserted herself into the conversation. How fascinating, she chimed, her tone dripping with artificial sweetness. Tell me, Mr. Reed, which galactic institution certified your agricultural expertise? Earth's soil and generations of human knowledge, Thomas replied calmly. Sometimes the oldest wisdom combines perfectly with the newest innovations. No interplanetary education? How primitive. Victoria's skin pulsed with smug superiority. Primitive? Thomas smiled slightly. The simplest seed contains more wisdom than the most advanced computer, Lady Darkwood. Nature's intelligence spans galaxies. Victoria's bioluminescence flared with embarrassment as Ambassador Thornfield enthusiastically agreed with Thomas. Throughout the evening, she found herself watching the human, irritated by how easily he navigated between species, treating each being with genuine respect regardless of origin. As her quantum transport prepared for atmospheric departure that night, Victoria consoled herself that she would never have to deal with this presumptuous human again. The universe, however, had other plans. Victoria's private chambers aboard the Centaurian diplomatic vessel hummed with quantum energy as she paced, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing angry red. The holographic message from the High Council still floated in the air, its contents sending ripples of horror through her translucent skin. Marriage? Her voice shattered a nearby crystal decanter. To a human? Ambassador Thornfield's message played again. The reed farming innovations have proven crucial for our colony worlds. Their implementation requires a binding alliance. As per galactic convention, such treaties must be sealed through genetic union. Victoria's attendant, a smaller Centaurian named Lyra, approached cautiously. My lady, the humans' methods for regenerating dead soil have saved 3 of our outer colonies from famine. The Council believes I should dilute our pure bloodline with a farmer? Victoria's skin turned stormy gray. Our family has maintained genetic perfection for 10,000 cycles. The genetic simulations suggest unprecedented compatibility, Lyra continued, projecting data streams into the air. Mr. Reed's DNA contains markers we've never seen in humans. The potential. Potential? Victoria laughed bitterly. What potential could exist in a species that barely achieved space flight a century ago? A soft chime announced another message. This one showed Thomas Reed walking through vast fields of golden wheat, explaining his methods to amazed Centaurian scientists. Victoria found herself pausing, watching his confident movements, the intelligence in his eyes as he detailed complex biological processes. "He's not what you think," Lyra ventured. "His understanding of planetary ecosystems rivals our best scientists. And there are rumors." "Rumors?" Victoria's patterns shifted to curious blue despite herself. "Ancient Earth legends speak of guardian bloodlines, humans who carried special gifts. Some say the Reed family descends from these lines. Their agricultural success isn't just science, plants respond to them unusually." Victoria dismissed the notion with a wave, but her skin betrayed her interest with flickers of gold. She remembered how the flowers at the diplomatic ball had turned to follow Thomas's movements, how the very air seemed more alive around him. "The council has spoken," Lyra said gently. "The ceremony will be in 3 cycles. Both Earth and Centauri media are calling it the union of the millennium." Victoria sank onto her quantum-suspended couch, her hair writhing with distress. "How can they expect me to mate with a human? To bear hybrid offspring?" "Perhaps," Lyra suggested carefully, "you should speak with him first. Without the diplomatic crowd. See why the council believes this match could change everything." Victoria's skin rippled with resignation. She had been raised to serve her people's interests, no matter the personal cost. But as she prepared for her first private meeting with her future husband, she couldn't shake the memory of those steady brown eyes, that unshakable confidence that had so infuriated her. What secrets did Thomas Reed carry in his supposedly primitive human blood? And why did the thought of discovering them send unexpected shivers of anticipation through her crystalline form? The answers would soon change everything she thought she knew about humans, herself, and the very nature of life in the galaxy. The ceremonial gardens of New Earth Colony merged both worlds' traditions, quantum-suspended arches wrapped in earth vines, anti-gravity platforms covered in wild roses. Victoria Darkwood's crystalline form radiated anxiety, her wedding gown a marvel of living Centaurian silk that shifted between starlight and shadow. Thomas Reed waited beneath the arch, wearing a formal Earth suit with subtle Centaurian lighting woven through the fabric. His calm demeanor only intensified Victoria's agitation, her hair writhing like silver snakes. The ceremony blended both cultures' rituals. When Thomas took Victoria's hand, she flinched at the unexpected warmth. But something else flowed between them, a surge of energy that made the garden's plants suddenly burst into bloom. "Impossible," Victoria whispered, watching flowers unfurl in waves around them. Thomas smiled. "Life recognizes life, regardless of form." Their first weeks together transformed Victoria's understanding. She watched Thomas work, his hands in Earth's soil, and saw how plants responded to his touch. More than simple farming, he spoke to the land itself, combining ancient Earth wisdom with advanced Centaurian techniques. "My family has always had this connection," he explained one evening, as they walked through fields that practically sang with health. "We don't just grow things, we communicate with the living network that connects all planets." Victoria's scientific mind struggled with these concepts, yet she couldn't deny the evidence. Under Thomas's care, failed colony worlds bloomed. Her own bioluminescence began responding to the Earth's rhythms, creating new patterns never seen in her species. Watching him negotiate with Earth and Centaurian officials, she recognized a nobility that had nothing to do with bloodlines. He treated every being, from quantum AI to simple Earth worms, with the same genuine respect. "You're changing," her attendant Lyra observed. "Your patterns show Earth colors now." Indeed, Victoria's once pure blue form now shimmered with greens and golds. She found herself caring less about genetic purity and more about the miraculous web of life Thomas showed her. The night she first felt the pleasure of rain on her skin, dancing with Thomas in their garden, Victoria realized she had been wrong about everything. True nobility wasn't about maintaining separation, it was about fostering connections. And their connection was about to create something unprecedented in the galaxy. Victoria's pregnancy caused a sensation across two worlds. Her crystalline form now held a soft golden glow, her bioluminescent patterns forming protective spirals around her growing belly. The Centaurian medical experts were astounded. Human-Centaurian hybrids had never been successfully conceived before. The embryos are perfect, the lead geneticist announced, studying quantum scans. They carry markers from both species, but there's something more. Something we've never seen. Victoria felt it too. Her connection to living things had intensified exponentially. Plants burst into bloom at her approach now, just as they did for Thomas. She could sense the vast network of life her husband had always described, stretching between stars. During this time, an ancient Earth historian visited them, bringing records that shook Victoria's world again. The Reed bloodline, the historian explained, projecting holographic images of ancient texts, descends from Earth's original guardians. They were a secret lineage of humans who could communicate with planetary consciousness itself. Most of their abilities were lost over generations, expressing only in their extraordinary agricultural gifts. Thomas had never mentioned this heritage. When Victoria confronted him, he simply smiled. "Would you have believed me at our first meeting? Some truths have to be experienced to be understood." The babies grew stronger daily, their unique genetic makeup defying all predictions. Victoria's body adapted, creating a perfect environment for their development. The medical teams documented everything, amazed by how the hybrid pregnancy was rewriting their understanding of both species' potential. In quiet moments, Victoria felt her twins' consciousness brush against hers. They carried both her Centaurian psychic abilities and Thomas's Earth sense, but amplified beyond anything either species had known. Through them, she experienced the universe as an interconnected living entity, every planet a beating heart in a cosmic web of life. "They'll bridge our worlds," Thomas said one night, his hand on her glowing belly. "Not just human and Centaurian, but all life everywhere." Victoria remembered her former prejudice with shame. She had nearly rejected this miracle because of pride in her pure bloodline. Now she understood, true evolution came from union, not isolation. The twins were coming soon, and with them, a new chapter in galactic history would begin. The birthing chamber merged Centaurian technology with Earth's natural elements. Victoria's crystalline form pulsed with intense light as she delivered the twins under the light of Earth's moon. Their birth triggered a planetary response, every plant within miles bloomed simultaneously, their combined life force creating visible auroras in the night sky. The twins, a boy and girl, defied all expectations. Their skin shifted between human tones and Centaurian crystal clarity. Their hair contained threads of living light, and their eyes held the depth of space itself. Within hours, flowers grew wherever they lay, and quantum fields responded to their presence like instruments to a maestro's touch. "They're perfect," Thomas whispered, cradling their daughter while Victoria held their son. The baby's combined human-Centaurian DNA had created something entirely new, beings who could bridge the gap between organic and quantum existence. Victoria watched in amazement as her children grew rapidly in their first weeks, displaying abilities that neither species possessed alone. They could communicate telepathically, accelerate plant growth with a touch, and instinctively understand the deep rhythms of any world they visited. The Centaurian High Council documented everything, realizing their assumptions about human, primitive genetics had been catastrophically wrong. Earth's guardian bloodlines, diluted but preserved in families like the Reeds, carried keys to evolutionary potential they'd never imagined. During the twins' naming ceremony, Victoria addressed both human and Centaurian dignitaries. Her once proud crystalline form now shimmered with Earth's colors as she spoke. "I once mocked humans for lacking pedigree. I was blind. True nobility isn't found in genetic isolation but in the courage to evolve, to combine strengths and transcend limitations." My children aren't just heirs to two worlds, they're proof that the future belongs to those brave enough to reach across the stars and recognize the nobility in all life. As if responding to their mother's words, the twins released a pulse of energy that transformed the ceremonial hall into a living cathedral of light and growth, where quantum physics and natural law danced as one. The age of separation was over. A new chapter in galactic evolution had begun.